Can you tell me a bit about your car?
Right. Well, 2001. I'm looking for a kit car. I'm quite limited in funds, and we found this on eBay, and it was in Leeds, which is about an hour from here.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with a friend of mine. In a previous life, we used to race TRs. We raced a TR4 and a TR7 V8, and we were quite good at it. We won the championship a few times. So we sort of know what looks right when we see something that looks like it's been done properly. We have a good eye for it. And this was in a garage. It was stripped down. It was a total mess. The guy had started rebuilding it, respraying it. It had been stood for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
He'd bought it from the guy that built it, the guy that built it in Leeds. It's a 1987, so it's older than it looks. And we just started looking around, and you spot little details. You know, you think the front cross member looks way too over-engineered. Mm-hmm. And the way the wishbones fit are on bearing spindles and just little things like that. And the anti-roll bar is adjustable and all sorts of little details, because I didn't have a clue anything about the car at all. It was just in the budget, and it wasn't running. So we'd no idea whether the engine was any good, whether the gearbox would be any good. We sort of took the guy's word. Originally, it had the old 1600 twin cam Toyota from a Celica, and a T55 speed, which I got that going in a matter of days, really. It was quite good. Within 4 weeks, it was rebuilt, done our MOT, our vehicle test, and back on the road. And then it had a fair rebuild a few years later. It had a major sort of refurb, probably 10 years ago now. We resprayed everything. I made a new bonnet for it, new alloy bonnet. It's had three engines since the original one. It's 2-litre, 16-valve Celica 3SGE. The first one got overheated, so I replaced that one. And then I decided, probably 4 years ago, to build my own engine, because we'd fairly maxed out what you could do with a standard engine. It was then on throttle bodies, fuel injected. It was up to 196 horsepower, I think it was. And together with a local guy that we use, who's really good with cylinder heads, and he's got a rolling road, he did the cylinder head for me. There's the guy next door to him is a company called Norris Motorsport, who are big in Cosworths, big power Cosworth stuff. And he helped me spec camshaft, which we had done by Caterham's company. I think they're in Holland, I'm not sure. And you just spec whatever you want, and they'll make it sort of no questions asked. And it's not particularly radical. But it's very high lift. Apparently, that's the way to go. We spec'd it for 230. It's not been on the rolling road since, but it's certainly a chunk quicker than what it was.
Yes.
So I think it's probably around about 230 horsepower now.
That's lovely.
We got the gearbox from a Lexus IS200.
Oh, okay.
6-speed, which 2 of the bolt holes lined up, but all the rest of the bolt holes we had to remachine. It has a Celica turbo clutch. There's quite a lot of work to get the gearbox in, because it's much bigger gearbox than the original.
Yeah,
but it's absolutely fantastic. First gear is a bit low, but from second up to 6, it's absolutely fantastic. It's the ratios seem just right. It just keeps it singing.
It just
nicely.
pulls.
It's really, really good. I love it.
And I have to be upfront with you. I know is the manufacturer a Spyder? I know not that much
Spyder,
about.
yeah.
Yeah,
The company
you say.
Spyder, the main thing, if you look up Spyder, they're in Peterborough,
Mm-hmm.
and their the main thing they did and still do is they make replacement chassis for Lotus Elans.
Oh, okay.
And they came up with the idea of making their own car, and the center, the backbone of this, and much of the rear suspension is very, very similar to an Elan chassis.
Oh,
And it
really?
has Triumph front suspension like an Elan. The
Yeah.
geometry is Triumph, it's GT6, which is basically Elan. So there was a guy who was well known on television in the UK, a guy named Roger Cook, who
Yes.
was a big investigative journalist 40 years ago. And I think the story goes that he came up with some of the shape of the bodywork. And because he
Mm-hmm.
was a big guy, he wanted the car making a little extra wide so he could
Oh,
fit
yeah.
in it. And that's the reason why the car's as wide as it is. But there's only 23 of them. We know
Wow.
where quite a few of them are.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend local to me who's got one in Nottingham, which is only about 15 miles away. His friend, who isn't with us anymore, he had one. So from 23, there were then 3 within a very small radius.
Mm-hmm.
And his car has actually gone back to Spyder since he died a couple of years ago, and it's gone back to Spyder, and they are rebuilding it as a heritage project, which is
Nice.
really, really good. We're sure that the guy would be very pleased that that's what's happening to his car. But yeah, they're a very, very, very rare beast. We know of, I think, about half a dozen in America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in contact with a guy, Charles Schwab, in Toledo. He's a copyright lawyer in Toledo. He's got one. There was about 2 or 3 chassis appeared actually on eBay for sale a few years ago, and we're pretty sure they went to the States. We probably know where half of these cars are. The other half we don't know. We know some went to Japan, but yeah, I don't know. What else can I tell you?
Oh, you told me plenty. That's the real story. I mean, I knew nothing about Spyder. I knew that they were rare, and I know from our Facebook group that you said there was a limited number of them made, and
Yeah.
23. And this is from way back in 1986. You say?
Yeah. This the chassis number starts 86. This
Wow.
was the 9th. It's 8609, so that this one's the 9th. The 9th. No, 09th would be the month. This is actually number 12. This is chassis number 12. My friend Chris, he has chassis number 21. His friend had chassis number 22. The slightly later cars have a different nose cone, but apart from that, they're pretty much the same.
It's a gorgeous looking car.
One of the very early cars was raced fairly successfully in kit car racing, like a factory race team.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know where that one is anymore. I don't think anyone knows where that one went to. But yeah, it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing, yeah. We sort of knew, if you look around it, you very quickly pick up on details that just show you that it is something special.
It truly
and I will
is.
never ever sell it.
I know the feeling.
Never ever. This one's an absolute keeper.
Yeah.
Doesn't get used enough. So when there used to be lots of kit car shows, I used to do a couple of thousand miles a year.
Really?
We were out all the time, and we used to go to race meetings and stuff. And the last few years, I've been doing 200 and 300 miles per year. That's all, I'm afraid.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Life gets in the way, Jim. Sometimes, we have lots of other things to do. But yes, it's good fun. It's good fun.
Well, this has been just absolutely fabulous. How impromptu does it get, Geoff? When you say, I've got an iPad and I'm going out in the shed, do you want to try it? We've tried it. What a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it seems to be working
Yeah.
even on the Wi-Fi. No, I spend quite a lot of time in here, not necessarily with the car, but during COVID, my son is a shooter. He goes to gun clubs, and his club was shut, and he bought an air rifle to play about with on the back garden, basically. So I bought an air rifle, which I hadn't had for about 40 years. And it sort of sparked my interest off because I'm basically an engineer. I've been an engineer all my life. I started modifying and adapting, and then that's ended up like I'm making my own now. Basically, I've just started on a new one, so that takes me time, keeps me sane. I think.
Got to keep sane.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to
I bought my own lathe and milling machine.
Is that a mini lathe or is it a full size lathe?
It's sort of in between. It's not quite a mini. It's the phone's actually resting on it right now.
Oh, okay.
It's a floor standing one, and it'll do anything I need anything to do. And I've got a bench top milling machine. I've got pretty much what I need really for making small things. You know, these small machines are okay as long as you don't expect too much of them.
Yeah.
And they're fine for aluminium. I've made one or two bits for this as well.
So you're boring out your barrels for your
No, that's about the only thing I can't make, Jim.
Yeah, I was going to wonder how are you going to rifle that?
I can't make a barrel. I can't make a barrel, and I don't generally make the stock because I'm not very good with wood. Yeah. I can do most things with metal, but not with wood. So I have to buy a few things and then make everything else. But yes, it's all good fun.
Yeah.
I keep trying to think of what to do next with this, but since it's had the new engine, there's not really a lot that I want to do. It's ready for some new tyres. These are just getting old. They're not worn out, but they're just getting old now, and I think they're probably past their prime. Probably not so good as they used to be. But it's only a road car. It's only a road car anyway. I don't race it.
Yeah.
I've got another one for that. I've got a little thing. Well, I might be selling the Phoenix, which is in a garage next door that I built with another friend a few years ago. That one doesn't go out much either, hence I might be selling it.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant, Jim, isn't it? It's a brilliant hobby. Making
Geoff,
things yourself.
One of the things I would love to do with you, if you don't mind, if you've got some photographs of you and your lovely little car, I would love it if you could send me a bunch of them, because I'd like to create a little bit of an article for 7 Spot with you, and we can communicate just as we're doing now and build something good.
Yeah. I did a magazine article a couple of years ago for Total
PKC.
Kit Car.
Yeah. I'm not a subscriber, but I noticed the car. Either you put it up, or I think John Minion, perhaps someone put it up, and I saw it. You know,
it's on the cover.
Yeah.
Because we met the guy, the owner, Steve O. We met him years ago when I'd only just got the car. I'm going back 20 years. Yeah. And he'd spotted my car. It just parked up, and this was at Newark about 20 years ago. And he was waiting to see me because he couldn't believe that there was one of these cars at Newark. And then I can't remember whether he approached me or I approached him. I think he left a note in the car. This is a few years later on.
Yeah.
And asking me about doing a magazine article. So I said, well, I'll write one for you. So that was in July, a couple of years ago. I think it was right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
When the article came out. But there's a lot of the history and stuff in that article as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a great thing.
Well, if you got any notes that you can share with me, I'd love it.
Well, I've actually got in a drawer down here. I've got some of the original paperwork,
Mm-hmm.
The original receipts, and these things cost a fortune. It was part of the downfall of the car. They were just too expensive.
Oh yeah.
There's receipts for about £8,000, and this is in the mid '80s when it was built, late '80s, and it was just a horrendous amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
It was more than buying a Caterham or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that was the reason, really, as far as I can tell, that the car just didn't sell in sufficient numbers because of its price.
Yeah, because it's really a gorgeous looking and unique looking 7, if you don't mind me saying so.
No.
And it looks, I mean,
because it is, when you see it sort of close up, it is a little bit wide, but it does make it sort of it's a bit squarer than it is long compared to a Caterham.
well, I'll say that
the engine in the Caterham sort of under here.
Yeah.
It's right back here.
Wow. Well, that's great.
Which caused a bit of a problem when I was doing the gearbox.
Yeah.
Because the gear lever was almost behind your seat.
Yeah.
So I had to come up with a remote device.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
to bring it forward, and that took a bit of
engineering,
a bit of head scratching. But I don't mind. An engineering challenge to me is something to go at, something to get my teeth into.
Yeah.
I enjoy it from that point of view.
Well, like I say, it's gorgeous, and you're a wizard. You turned on your iPad. How imaginative! And here we are.
It's actually on a phone, Jim. It's on a phone.
Oh, even better.
It's on a phone that normally sits on my mountain bike with the maps and things like that on my e-bike. And I've just tried that, and it seems to be working, Jim, doesn't it? Even though it's on the Wi-Fi. Is it okay at your end?
It is fine. I mean, I suppose we could have done a recording. There's a type of recording we could do where it's called remote recording, and using this streaming service, you can get it so that both ends of the transmission go up to the server individually, and then they get merged in the server, and you get very, very good quality stuff. But for what it is, and just to say hi like this, I think it's wonderful. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna save this recording, and I'm going to make a little, bit of a file, because I do want to follow up with you on your lovely Spyder, if that's okay with you.
Well, I'll get the place tidied up as well, Jim, because it's a proper tip at the moment, because I'm sort of partway through a project.
I'm gonna show
you
very,
very untidy.
Let me show you something. This is my shed.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah. I saw it earlier on.
But it took 2 days of mucking out.
Yeah.
Because everything, I mean, it looked just like yours. I couldn't walk in here. Now everything has now gone up onto in storage shelves and right up to the ceiling. So that's what it is.
Well, mine's normally lots of stuff inside it.
Yeah.
I've just thrown that out just for now. But yeah, I like it in here. A man needs a shed, Jim. A man needs a shed.
I know. I'm feeling somewhere
to go.
Yeah, and my shed isn't being used the way it is. I mean, when I was building my car, I had all my gear, my jacks, everything was at hand. Now a lot of it just lives in a storage container, and it's not the way it should be. I have to straighten out my life.
wish I had time to straighten mine up.
Well, we both know how that feels.
Yeah,
Geoff,
yeah, we do.
I'm going to say thanks.
You only get
so,
one. You only get one life, Jim.
Yeah, you got to go for it. I mean, for me, this bit of thing I do is what keeps me sane too, because I'm kind of like you. We both have people we love and we look after, and
Yeah,
this
that's
is
right.
my way of reaching out. So, hey, you could be a TV star.
I'm not sure. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
So why don't
But by all
we
means,
just?
if you want to do something, I'll get tidied up and we could do a little tour. I'll see if I've got quite a few photographs. I've got very few photographs with me and the car because it's normally me taking the photos. But I've got some. I have posted some on 7spot. There's a few of the car in its original state.
I will look for that.
There's a because the car was white when it was originally built, and I think I've posted a photo of it when it was originally built, and then there's some photos of how it was when I picked it up 20 odd years ago. And my wife thought I was completely mad when it was delivered on the back of a lorry, and it just looked like it wasn't a total wreck, but it just looked like a wreck.
Yeah.
And the engine wasn't working, and it had no exhaust, and the electronic ignition was blown up. And when I first tried to start it up, it boiled up in about 2 minutes. And I thought, and then I investigated, and the thermostat was just a solid tennis ball of rust.
Oh God!
So that was quite good, really. It was quite straightforward to sort that out. And I sort of wish it'd still got that original engine in. So I know kit cars are a bit of a mix and match sort of a thing, but they're still all only original once.
Yeah, and I have to say that I don't know how original an original kit car is.
No, that's right. The specs could vary so much, but my friends in Nottingham, he's still got the 1600 engine in it. Now the front suspension is Triumph. The steering column is Austin Mini Metro.
Okay.
The brake at master cylinder is from a London taxi.
Really?
The lights are from a Leyland Sherpa van, the back lights. The differential is from a Ford Sierra.
Okay.
What else? There's so many different things.
Wow, that really is a mismatch, isn't it? It's a mix and match here.
They are a proper. Oh, the steering rack is a weird one. It's a left-hand drive Mini mounted upside down, and it does my head in to try and even figure out what's going on there.
I wonder why that is. Is that because it interferes with some mechanical bits?
I think it's just the distance from like ball joint end to ball joint end.
Yeah,
is the critical thing.
And
I think they must have discovered that Mini is the right length. But then because this is mounted in front of the axle and not behind, I think that's why they had to use a left-hand drive one, and you have to turn it. I don't know, but it's left-hand drive
and upside down.
Upside down.
Wow, it's unique.
Well, yeah. It's probably as unique as kit cars get. There's only 23. 23 done. But yeah, wow. They're brilliant. They're brilliant, Jim, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, my friend, I'm going to say thanks for doing this with me. This is just a quick test.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And I'm going to save this, and we'll be in touch because we'll do something better and more in depth soon.
Yeah. I'll gen up a bit.
And don't muck out the shed too much. Warts. I think
if
men
I
are
get to Newark tomorrow. I'll speak to John.
Okay, but remember that men's sheds are filled with warts, You know, it can't be too organized. It just can't.
No, no, this is never that organised. If ever it is organised, it's very, very brief, because
Yeah.
the next project sort of comes along,
Yeah.
and
Where's
I'm
that
pretty good at
spanner?
working in total squalor. I can
Yeah.
step over things and around
Yeah.
things.
Well, it keeps.
It doesn't bother me if I'm
Yeah.
focused on what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's a matter of
Yeah.
focus. If you got a job at hand and you want to get it done, you know, you got to
Yeah.
step over that.
I certainly do. I didn't
Yeah.
show you the floor.
My floor was filled with
It's nice
swarf.
to speak to you, Jim.
Yeah.
Nice
Cheers.
to speak to you.
All right.
And
I'm gonna say goodbye then, but it's not goodbye. It'll be a farewell for now.
okay, au revoir.
All right. Cheers for now.
Thanks, Jim.
You bet. Bye.
Sunny day, right there you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day you called me up, you told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel